Hey guys, it's Zonofear here. Today I'm bringing you another Battlefield 3 gameplay commentary, this time on Damavand Peak Rush as the attacking team. My loadout is the Assault class with the AK-74M, the underslung rail, the Cobra sight and the heavy barrel. For the underslung attachment I'm using the M320 buckshot, which for some reason when you gain a kill with the M320 buckshot on Russian rifles actually comes up as the GP30 dart. However, when you attach it to an American rifle, it correctly comes up as M320 buckshot. I can understand why it comes up a little different on the Russian equipment. The Russian rifles use the GP30 grenade launcher as a standard, so it's nice to have that little difference. However, when you choose M320 buckshot, you would expect your kills to come up with M320 buckshot when you actually make a kill with it. I'm going to cover a couple of things today, such as assault rifles and also sort of server balances when you're actually playing the game. But before I carry on, this game was recorded when there was a bit of latency problem with the PC servers. So even though my ping is quite good to the server, the sort of lag that it was meant that occasionally I had frame drops for no reason. Usually, for those of you that have subscribed to my channel, you'll notice that my gameplay is quite smooth. However, this game, there were a couple of times when there seems to be a very brief skip in the video. That is not my hardware. That is a problem that's currently affecting Battlefield 3 PC servers. So, just to get that out of the way before a couple of you guys notice the sort of stuttering that occasionally happens throughout the video. Nonetheless, this was a really good game, and I wanted to upload it anyway, because this was actually quite enjoyable, and it had also helped me to cover a couple of things that I want to cover. The game itself was a little longer than this, at around 20 minutes long. But what I did was, I couldn't possibly speak for 20 minutes, so I've kind of cut out the more pedestrian bits and focused a little bit more on the action bits to sort of shorten the video down. But you're not really missing much in the pedestrian bits, the same old, you run for 5 minutes and then get taken down by a sniper when you get to where you want to go. And, a couple of kills here and there, but nothing really significant apart from a couple of defender stragglers. Okay, so let's move on to sort of assault rifles. Now, I've been playing Battlefield 3 a fair bit recently, and I think that it would be fair to say that I feel that Battlefield 3 has kind of launched with the wrong name, perhaps. See, what I was thinking was, it maybe should be called something more like Battle M16A3 Field 3, because of the amount of people that are currently using the M16A3. Now, the AK-74M and the M16A3 are starter weapons, and as starter weapons are actually really good. I've used this AK-74M quite a bit, and I really enjoy using it. It has a very good recoil, and you can basically fire full auto with no real penalties, providing that your target's at sort of close mid-range. Which is the same with the M16A3, except unlike the AK-74M, which is not so spectacular at sort of the longer ranges, the M16A3 seems to be the jack of all trades. It has no sort of negative features that I can think of. It has a phenomenally quick reload time, and use the M16A3 and attach the foregrip and a red dot sight and whatever else you want to attach to it, and it basically becomes a laser pistol. It is remarkable how accurate at any range that thing is, regardless of whether you're firing it full auto or semi-auto. I hear that the M16A3 is actually going to be sort of nerfed a little bit, and while I don't usually call for nerfs on weapons, I think that it's actually quite a good move to do so, because right now in the game's current state there is no reason to not use the M16A3. If you're not using the M16A3, you're basically gimping yourself, because it's superior to every other assault rifle at what it does. Sure, other weapons like the G3A3 and the AN94 may do a little more damage, but the recoil is quite high on these things, so you really have to sort of nail down your shooting ability. Whereas the M16A3 gives you great damage for the weapon, and also sort of laser beam accuracy when you actually fire it full auto, single shot and so forth. So right now there is no point using any other rifle apart from the M16A3. And over the last couple of days I've seen guys with like 100 stars with it and 50 stars with it, and you'll have entire teams of medics using nothing but the M16A3. So for the M16A3 to be sort of toned down a little bit is quite welcome for me. I like seeing a bit of variety in my games, but right now a lot of Battlefield is basically M16A3 field. It's the only weapon worth using if you're the assault class. Moving on from the sort of M16A3 thing, what I also want to talk about is server balance. A lot of the times I play Battlefield 3 solo. I'd like to squad up more with people, but for the most part it's a solo experience. And a lot of the games that I play basically revolve in one team completely annihilating the other team. There is no sense of balance in the game whatsoever. You'll join a game and you'll find out that you've been put on the worst team ever. And I'd probably say more times than not, I'm often found in the team that is getting hammered horribly, because they're the first to quit out of the game, making space for other people to join the game and see exactly how unbalanced the teams are. If you run a server, what I'd like to suggest is that maybe you use some sort of auto scramble based on score at the end of every round. Now, this shouldn't split friends. If you're playing in a squad with a bunch of friends, then I don't think you should be split up. You should be kept inside that squad and carry on playing together, because after all that's what you've squadded up for. However, if the teams are comprised of basically solo players who have, one group of people have decided to stack up another team overwhelmingly against another team, then at the end of the round, use a sort of score scrambler to, based on score, move the, sort of balance the teams a little bit based on score, and maybe then we can see a couple more sort of balanced games, because right now the game is just, which team is stomping who. You're either on a team that is doing fantastic and completely lording it over an enemy who's quitting left, right and centre, or you're basically going to get pounded because your team aren't very good. And that has been my experience for the majority of Battlefield 3. Bad Company 2 was like that to a degree, but you could still have fantastic games against well-matched teams, and they were great games. And what I'd like to see more of is balanced teams going toe-to-toe with each other, where the skill levels are the same and everything else is the same, and basically it all boils down to which team wants to win more. And another thing I'd like to talk about, and I've sort of covered this a little bit in my last commentary, is the game's shotgun hit detection. Now, I've used the 870 a little bit in the last sort of week and a half, and I've uploaded a video recently of me showing the fantastic hit detection on the 870 combat shotgun, and I can't put it any other way. Basically, the hit detection on the shotguns is complete bullshit. I've seen a lot of other YouTube commentators say this as well, including a couple of guys that I play with. The 870 is so inconsistent in what it does that it kind of takes away any point of using it. Why use the 870 when you can use a DAO-12? At least then, if you miss your first shot with a sort of DAO-12, you've got a nice, magazine to sort of empty. Or if the first shot doesn't do an awful lot of damage when it should do, at least you can follow up really quick with it. Whereas with the 870, it's a complete joke that you can hit a guy less than a foot away and do absolutely no damage to him whatsoever. The game I was playing a couple of days ago, I hit that guy 3 times in my other video and nothing happened, and I was close enough to kill him the first time and the second time and the third time. So when he RPG'd me and still remained on 100% health, let's just say that was almost a sort of monitor through my window time. And that is a frequent occurrence on Battlefield 3. It was also similar in Bad Company 2, but not to the extent that it is in Battlefield 3. Maybe it's because Bad Company 2's weapons had less lethality, so that when you fired your shotgun and it sort of did a little bit of damage, you could fire again while the other guy was shooting at you, because the weapons weren't as potent. But in Battlefield 3 it's exacerbated by the weapon damage, and it just makes using anything like the 870 completely pointless with buckshot. And I do think that DICE do need to have a look at that, because this has been a major bugbear of mine with Frostbite since Bad Company 1, and it's just seemed to have got more inconsistent as the series has progressed. Overall, I'm still finding Battlefield 3 an enjoyable experience, and while it does have its sort of weirdness, there is a good game here. And if DICE could, fix the problems that this game has with stuff like hit detection and so forth, it'd make it even better. And adding in features that Battlefield fans have asked for a very long time would be even more sweeter. I played a lot of Battlefield 2142, and I certainly do miss sort of all the features that were available in that game. So it's time to wrap it up. As always, I'd like to thank you guys for listening and all the comments that you guys leave me. Keep an eye out for my channel for more gameplay commentaries, and I hope you all have a good day. Bye bye.